dear students, let us continue our journey with module 34 of unit 4. And today we are going to discuss about current account balance and the foreign trade multiplier. In the previous module, we discussed about the national income accounting in case of an open economy. And we talked about the current account balance, which was the export minus import for the country. In the current module, we are going to see how the change in the export of a country is going to impact the national income of the country. And this will be captured by the foreign trade multiplier. Note, for any country, the export is exogenously given. That is, the export of the country is determined by the demand, taste preference pattern of the foreign country and the income of the foreign country. That is, at a given point of time, the net export demand for a particular country will be determined by the factors not within the control of the domestic country. However, import is dependent on the factors which are within the countries. That is, import is indigenously determined. Import in our model will be considered to be a function of income. Import demand is the demand of foreign goods and service by the domestic residents of a country. Now, as the income will go up, the demand for goods and services will increase, and as expected, the import demand will also increase. We can consider import as a positive increasing function of income. Import function can be thought of as following. Let M represent import. Therefore, M is equal to M bar, which can be an autonomous import, plus a function of income. Now, M into Y, the small m can be considered as the marginal propensity to import. That is, what is the amount of change in import due to 1 unit change in income. And as expected, this marginal propensity to import will be a positive fraction. That is, it will be lying between 0 and 1. Now, there is a positive relationship between import and national income in our case. As national income increase, the import of the country will increase. Now, a foreign trade multiplier is defined as what will be the change in the national income of the country due to 1 unit change in export in general. Now, as export increases by 1 unit, those in the export sector, their income will go up. As the income of these people go up, the demand in the economy will go up. The rise in the demand will then be reflected by change in consumption. And this will also be indicated by change in the import demand of the country. Now, the change in demand of domestic good will depend on the marginal propensity to save or marginal propensity to consume, and the import demand will depend upon the marginal propensity to import. Mind you, this import and savings both indicates a leakage from the domestic demand of goods and services. Therefore, any rise in income, the marginal propensity to save and marginal propensity to import will be intending to reduce domestic national income. Larger is the value of marginal propensity to save and marginal propensity to import, there will be lower generation of national income. And this will be the idea we are going to deal in this particular module. Now, how does a foreign trade multiplier works? Suppose the export in the economy increases for a particular country. A rise in export means there is a rise in demand of the domestic good in the foreign market. How will the exporter respond? As the demand of domestic good rises, the exporter responds by increase in production. This increase in production will increase the requirement of factors of production in the economy. These factors of production income will go up. As the income of these factors of production goes up, we know consumption is a positive function of income. The consumption in the economy goes up. But together with that, import itself is a function of income too. So demand for import will also go up. However, the rise in the domestic demand will set in a multiplier process in the domestic economy. A rise in demand leads to rise in production in the economy. A rise in production in the economy will lead to rise in income in the economy. Rise in income in the economy will again lead to rise in consumption and import in the economy due to induced effect. And there will be subsequent such rounds of impact, creating a multiplier process in the economy. But mind you, this multiplier process will get affected by two factors. One, how much are people consuming or how much they are saving. If the people are saving more, there will be lesser induced effect created in the economy. Again, if the rise in demand is mostly from the foreign goods, that means the money is flowing out of the economy, and this will hamper the increase in domestic national income in our case. Thus, the multiplier in this economy, or how much that income is going to rise in the economy, depends in two important factors. One is the marginal propensity to save, and another is the marginal propensity to import. And this will be the important talking point of the export multiplier. We are going to derive this trade multiplier in an algebraic way. Now look, the national income identity of economy, let us consider the government is not present for simplicity. Y is equal to C plus I plus X minus M, where X minus M is the current account balance, the difference between the export and the import in the economy. Now, the above relation can be written as Y minus C is equal to I plus X minus M. Or we can manipulate it to write Y minus C to be S, which is the savings in the economy, and savings plus import is equal to investment plus export. Now at equilibrium, savings plus import is the leakage in the economy, and investment plus export is the injection in the economy. At equilibrium, this injection must be equal to the leakage in the economy. So in an open economy, national income equilibrium is given by the point where the leakages in the economy, which is savings and import, is equal to the injections in the economy. Now, any change in any of the four variables will move the national income from its equilibrium position. And this must be balanced by change in the factors in the corresponding side. For example, if the left side of the equation changes, the right side must change in equal direction to balance it, and we will be then having a new equilibrium formed for this particular economy. Now suppose the equation 1 represents the starting point for the economy, and for some reason the export or investment in the economy, which is the right hand side, changes. This immediately disturbs the equilibrium in the national income. The change in the national income will then create an induced change in the savings and import of the economy, that is the left side of the equation. And this will continue till a new equilibrium or a balance is achieved in the economy. Now, we can see this change by taking change in the variables on the both sides. That is, delta I represents change in investment, delta X represents change in export, delta X represents change in savings, and delta M represents change in import. Remember, change in savings, which is a function of income, can be represented, that is delta S can be represented as MPS, that is the marginal propensity to save, into the change in the income, that is how much saving is responding to 1 unit change in income. Similarly, delta M will be shown as the response of change in import due to 1 unit change in income, that is MPM into delta Y. Now if I substitute this value of S and M in equation 1, we will get delta I plus delta X is equal to delta MPS into delta Y plus MPM into delta Y. From the right hand side, we can take delta y as common. And we then have MPS plus MPM into delta y. We can transfer this to the right hand side and we can have delta y is equal to 1 by MPS plus MPM. This 1 by MPS plus MPM will now be representing the foreign trade multiplier. For 1 unit change in investment or in export, how much y changes is this particular factor 1 by MPS plus 1 by plus MPM, as we have discussed this logically earlier. Now we find that either investment change or export change, the income will change by a multiple 1 by MPS plus MPM. Hence, this is the foreign trade multiplier. So if export suppose rises and there is no change in investment, the export multiplier will then be delta x into 1 by MPS into MPM. Now we remember MPS is 1 minus MPC. So the foreign trade multiplier can also be shown as 1 by 1 minus MPC plus MPM in this particular equation. Now, this foreign trade multiplier is showing an reciprocal effect to marginal propensity to save and marginal propensity to import. And as I discussed earlier, these both are leakages in the economy. Higher are their value, lower will be the foreign trade multiplier because lower demand is created in the domestic market. We can have one particular example. Suppose MPS in the economy is 0.2 and MPM is also 0.2. Then the foreign trade multiplier, which is 1 by MPS plus MPM, will be is equal to 1 by 0.4, that is 2.5. That is for every 1 unit rise in export, the income rises by 2.5 times. Again, if for some reason this MPS rises from 0.2 to 0.3, we observe the value of the multiplier now is 1 by 0.3 plus 0.2, that is 1 by 0.5, that is 2. That is for 1 unit rise in export, y changes twice. So there is a fall in the multiplier due to rise in MPS. The same will be true for MPM also. Now for this multiplier process to happen, we have considered following assumptions. That there is a full employment in the economy, that there is a direct relationship between domestic and foreign country exporting and importing. The country is a small economy and there is no repercussion effect. We considered there is a fixed exchange rate system. And there is a no lag in the process, that is the multiplier is an instantaneous process. We assume there is no accelerator, be it investment accelerator or otherwise. There is no barrier to trade in terms of tariff, etc. Domestic investment is considered to be autonomous, that is, it is fixed. Government expenditure is not taken into account and is considered to be constant. And that there is only two economy. We are going to understand the foreign trade multiplier in case of no repercussion graphically. We consider this particular figure. Savings and import is a function of income in positive direction. So we have an upward sloping savings plus investment line. Investment is considered to be autonomously given and so is export, which is given by this horizontal line. The economy is at equilibrium at point E0 where the export line meets the savings plus import line and a domestic income was Y0. Now for some reason, suppose export rises from X0 to X1, we look that equilibrium shifts from E0 to E1. That is, the new income moves from Y0 to Y1. Graphically, what we observe is the change in export, that is delta X, is smaller than change in income, delta Y. Therefore, delta Y by delta X is greater than 1. That is, there is an multiplier process in this case. So, the increase in export delta X leads to rise in income, that is Y1 minus Y0. And note, this basically depends on the slope of the savings plus import line. And that the slope of the savings plus import line is marginal propensity to save plus marginal propensity to import. Thus, the multiplier process can be shown as 1 by MPS plus MPM. The final thing that we are going to look in this closed economy case is a comparison with that of closed economy multiplier. In a closed economy multiplier, if you can recall, the value of multiplier is 1 by MPS or 1 by 1 minus MPC. In case of an open economy multiplier, we have 1 by MPS plus MPM or 1 by 1 minus MPC plus MPM. Now note MPM is a positive fraction. So 1 plus MPS minus MPC will be a lower value in case of an open economy multiplier. So an open economy multiplier, if you see, is 1 by MPS plus MPM, whereas closed economy multiplier is 1 by MPS. So 1 by MPS will be greater than 1 by MPS plus MPM. Thus, a closed economy multiplier is greater than an open economy multiplier. And this is because 1 unit rise in investment will lead to a rise in consumption demand of domestic economy as a whole in case of closed economy. But in case of open economy, a part gets shifted to foreign economy's income. So there is a leakage, and that reduces the value of the multiplier in case of a closed economy. We are now going to discuss how there will be a change in a foreign trade multiplier if there is a repercussion effect. Earlier, we have considered a small open economy. That means there was no foreign trade repercussion on the country. A rise in investment or export led to rise in income, which led to rise in import, and this process moved on in the economy till there was no change in income. But now suppose we are allowing a foreign trade repercussion in the model, and this result is going to change, and we will see how. Now, what is a foreign trade repercussion? Consider an economy. For some reason, there is a rise in export of the country due to rise in import of the domestic country. That is, as the domestic country increases import, there is a rise in export in the rest of world. A rise in export in the rest of world means there will be a multiplier process that will start in the rest of the world. That means the income of the rest of the world will increase due to the multiplier process. As the income of the rest of the world increases, there will be a rise in demand in the rest of the world. This rise in demand will be put domestic good as well as import good. Now the import of this country can be also a part of the export of our home country. Rise in demand of rest of world can increase the export of domestic country. Now a rise of export in domestic country will again increase the income due to multiplier process and increase the import of the domestic country. And again, an increase in import will increase the export of the rest of the world. And now we are finding a cycle that has been created. And this is called the repercussion in trade model. Now, this process leads to enhancement of the multiplier process due to the feedback that the country is receiving from the other countries. And we can see this with the help of this particular flow diagram, the entire foreign repercussion process. This process will continue till the marginal change of income drops, because every round there is a diminishing increase in the income due to the marginal propensity to import lying between 0 and 1. This is the reaction of the foreign trade repercussion model. Now we are going to derive this foreign trade multiplier algebraically. We can look in this particular equations. To derive a foreign trade multiplier with foreign repercussion, for simplicity, we will consider the home or the domestic country to be a non-asterisk country, whereas those countries where asterisk is shown will represent the foreign country. Let MPS be denoted by small s and MPM be denoted by small m. We remember the national income accounting equilibrium, where the leakage equal to the injection was shown by I plus x is equal to s plus m. And we have taken change from both the sides to derive the multiplier. The first equation here, delta I plus delta x is equal to delta s plus delta m, represents that of a home country. Note, there is no asterisk over there. In equation 2, we find delta I star plus delta x star is equal to delta s star plus delta m star, representing the national income position for country 2. And we know savings depend on the income and the marginal propensity to save. So delta s is equal to small s into delta y, delta m is equal to small m into delta y, and same for the foreign country, but shown by star sign. Now, we know that change in national one's export is equal to the change in import for nation 2, because we have to consider a two-country model. And similarly, nations 2 export is the import for the home country. So, equation 1 and 2 can be redefined as delta I is equal to m star plus delta y star, that is, the export of domestic country is now represented by import of foreign country. Similarly, the export of domestic country is the import from the foreign country is represented over here. Now, we can derive the foreign trade multiplier with repercussion in this particular way. Now, we first start that there is a change in the autonomous investment in nation 1. So, as there is an autonomous change in nation 1 and no change in nation 2, delta I star will be equal to 0. Solving equation 4, we will find that this particular part is now 0. So we have m into delta y is equal to this right hand side. And from this, we can solve for the value of delta y star in this following way. And we get delta y star is equal to m into delta y by s star plus m star. Remember, s star is the marginal propensity to save of the foreign country, and m star is the marginal propensity to import of the foreign country, and m is the marginal propensity to import of the home country. This equation can be simplified by putting this value of delta y star in equation 3. So instead of m star delta y star, in place of y star, we put m delta y plus s star plus m. And then we solve by taking this value to the right hand side. And the algebraic manipulation in this case will show me that delta I by delta y is equal to s into s star plus m s star plus m star s by s star plus m star. We can inverse it to find the multiplier of delta y due to change in investment. And this is the particular value we get. We can divide the numerator and denominator by s star. And in that case, we find the multiplier due to change in investment in nation 1 with no change in investment in nation 2. Again, if we go back to equation 3 and 4, this particular equations, and now suppose there is an autonomous increase in investment in nation 2 and not in nation 1, then in that case delta I is equal to 0 for nation 1. Now again, we can do the similar process by solving equation 3 and put it the value into equation 4. And what we observe here, that in that case, delta y star will be s plus m by m star into delta y. And this has been put into equation 4. So I solve equation 3 to find the value of delta y star, and I put it into equation 4. And again, we do the algebraic manipulations to simplify. So we take this from the left hand side and put it into the right hand side. All the variables will now be in delta y terms. So we take delta y common, And from here, we can find the change in Y due to change in I star. So the trade multiplier due to change in investment in nation 2 is now shown here. Now note, the foreign trade multiplier with foreign trade repercussion in nation 1 can now be shown due to two effects. Autonomous increase in export in nation 1 also has the same impact like change in investment. In that case, the foreign trade multiplier will be shown as change due to change in export is equal to change in investment in domestic country, then minus that change in the foreign country. And this gives rise to the foreign trade multiplier in case of repercussion. We will talk about limitations of this foreign trade multiplier. Remember the assumptions. We had considered export and investment to be autonomously given. However, in real life, this is not the case, and export and investment are both dependent on national income of the country. We had considered that there is an instantaneous multiplier effect, and we have denied any possibility of lag in the model, but in reality, there are lags that are present. We had also assumed full employment, which is far from the real situation. Further, we have only considered two economy. When there is a case of multiple economy, this repercussion effect becomes more complicated to understand. We have assumed that there is no restriction to trade. However, in reality, there are presence of tariffs and other barriers to trade, and that may impact this multiplier process. Finally, we have neglected the presence of monetary and fiscal policy in the economy. The government of a country controls different decisions of the individuals by controlling the monetary and fiscal policies, which may have a significant impact on the foreign trade multiplier. However, the foreign trade multiplier may be a powerful tool for an economic analysis to help formulation of policies for the country. So dear student, in this particular module, we learned a very important tool, that is the foreign trade multiplier, and how change in factors like investment or export can impact the growth of the national income of the country. Further, we also learned that if the economy is not a small one, there is a possibility of foreign trade repercussion where the change in behavior of the domestic country can impact the rest of the world, and that can again have a feedback impact on the behavioral change of the domestic economy. We also learned that the closed economy multiplier is larger as the leakages are lesser, whereas open economy multiplier, a part of income gets leaked out to the foreign country in the form of import. Thank you, dear students.